Okay, Matt, go right ahead.
Okay, we're live.
Yes.
All right. Good evening and welcome to the October 14th meeting of the City of Kalamazoo Zoning Board of Appeals, a volunteer board appointed by the City Commission. Tonight's meeting is being held electronically and is being streamed live on the city's Facebook page and YouTube channel. Mr. Eldridge, will you please conduct a roll call vote of attendance? And for board members, remember we have to state the city and state that we're in.
Apologize for that. Let's do the roll call vote. Our other board member will be joining us shortly. So I just wanted to reach out to him one more time, and I was able to get a hold of him.
Okay.
So as far as our roll call for tonight, let's start with Ms. Harrington.
Present in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Thank you. Turpinning.
Present, Kalamazoo, Michigan, in the great neighborhood of the Vine.
Flaw.
Present, Portage, Michigan.
Matt Lager.
Present, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
And Mr. Carroll is the one that I just talked to on the phone that will be joining us momentarily. And we have heard in advance from Ms. Vanden Hamburg and Ms. Doan, so they are not going to be present tonight. So I would say let's proceed with the review of the meeting minutes, and
Okay.
we can vote because we have quorum, so we can proceed forward actively with the meeting.
Okay, well, we'll move on then to the acceptance of last month's minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes? No? Then is there a motion to approve last month's minutes?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor of approval of last month's minutes signify by saying aye.
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 And opposed, same sign. The motion carries. I'll now explain our procedures for tonight's public hearing. For each request, tonight I will read the application into the public record. The applicant or their representative will then have 10 minutes to provide comments. Following that, public comments received via phone will be aired for the panelists in the audience. If the viewing or listening audience would like to comment on one of the public hearing items, you can do so by calling 269-226-6573, and you'll be prompted to leave a message. That number's on the screen, and again, it's 269-226-6573. Comments received by public hearing for a specific request will be played before the conclusion of that public hearing. After all public comments are listened to, we will close the public hearing on the request. Once the public hearing is closed, the board will then conduct what is called a finding of fact, where the board states what they feel are the facts of the request. The board must approve the finding of fact first. Therefore, the first vote you hear is not a ruling on the request, but on the finding of fact. Then the board discusses the request in order to determine a ruling. The board reserves the privilege to ask questions of persons who have already spoken, even though the public comment period has closed. Once discussion is ended, the board will move on to a roll call vote. A full board consists of 6 members with 4 votes required to grant a variance or any other request. Pete, so tonight we have 4 members with 1 joining. So Ms. Agnello, am I pronouncing that right? You have the option of holding this off till next month. because you would, with 4 members, you'd have to have an unanimous, all 4 would have to be in favor for the motion to carry. Would you like to proceed tonight or wait till next month?
Like to proceed.
Okay,
Thank you.
well then I'm going to read the case into the record. Let me pull that up on my screen.
Okay, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
why don't we change the order a little bit? You
Yeah.
read it into the record and then we'll do staff comments first.
okay,
And I've got a few things I can show, some pictures of the area. And then that way, Mr. Carroll will be on before Ms. Agnello, gives her presentation.
sounds good.
I'm presuming he's going to be able to get on here shortly. And if that doesn't happen, then at least we know we can proceed with 4. But if he's able to jump on, then it's only going to work if he can hear, the whole presentation from the applicant.
Okay,
So,
very good. So for our case tonight, an application for a variance from provisions of the zoning ordinance has been filed with the Zoning Board of Appeals by Emily Agnello of 3105 Winchell Avenue, which is situated in the residential single dwelling district. The applicant is requesting a variance from Appendix A, Chapter 4, Section 4.2 K2C to authorize a group daycare on a local street where group daycares are required to be located on collector or arterial streets with more traffic volume. Please note that this request will not change the zoning classification of the property. This is a request for variance only regarding the item described above. Okay, staff comments then we'll start with.
all right, great. And I'm going to do a quick screen share here. All right, can everybody see that window?
Yep,
I have an unusual format showing up here, but okay, so this is what I wanted to display. And sorry. Okay, so this, just not sure why I've got 2 windows. There we go. Well, I'll just go through this. So this is a view of the subject property. So as mentioned in the staff report, it talks about, the size of the property being roughly a third of an acre, talks about the fencing around the backyard and the screening, the vegetative screening, the trees and bushes around the backyard area where the play space is. The driveway is approximately 18 feet wide, so it's a double lane driveway, about 50 feet in length, allowing for the pickups and drop offs of kids. Because questions, had been raised in the past with group daycares, like, how is the pickup and drop offs being handled? So that's something that staff likes to, make sure that they're looking at and commenting on when we do our staff review. This is the view across the street. This stretch of Winchell only has sidewalks on one side, it's on the north side. But it's, single family homes across the street, looking to the east. That's the neighboring home to the east. And then looking to the west down Winchell Avenue, you can see the neighboring home in the proximity. So let me just stop that screen share. So then we're going to go back and look at, because this variance is specific to, I see Mr. Carroll on there. Hello there, Jeff. Thanks for joining us tonight.
My apologies to all the stakeholders. I'm present in Phoenix, Arizona. The time change duped me. My apologies.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I appreciate you, making the quick effort to jump on the meeting. So that gives us a total of 5 voting members tonight. So anyways, what's going on right now is I'm making some staff comments in advance because I wanted to make sure you heard the entire presentation by the applicant. So the next thing I want to share is the layout of, so this map that you're looking at right now shows the extent of Winchell Avenue from Oakland Drive to where it dead ends over at Shelter Point over in this location. So the street classification is not uniform for this entire stretch of Winchell Avenue. It is considered a collector street from Oakland Drive to Rambling. And then, of course, Rambling is considered a collector street extending down to Stadium Drive. Beyond that point, Winchell Avenue becomes a local street all the way to where it terminates to the far west end. But as far as the traffic usage, there's still a considerable amount of traffic flow. It's still used as a bus route for an elementary, intermediate, and high school. So there's still quite a bit of usage. And what I've done here is I've identified where the Agnello residence is in proximity to where the transition point is, or shall I say where the classification of the street changes. And it's approximately 800 feet or 8 properties away from the Agnello residence where that transition occurs. So just wanted to give you a visual of that. And other than that, I'll reserve any other comments till the end when staff asks, or when the board asks questions of staff. And I'll let the applicant speak here. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Thank you again, Pete. You said so much of what I had already planned to say. You did a lot of the work for me, so thank you. I am currently licensed by the state of Michigan to care for 6 children. Because there is a child care shortage, crisis, need in our community. The reason I'm expanding to hopefully take more is because of that. When I started this business, I had so many parents reaching out to me, needing care that I've been having to turn away. So through that, and through the encouragement of my licensing consultant who came out to my house, she encouraged me to try to do this, to take more kids to just fill this need that is lacking in our community. At one point, some of the parents that I've talked to, like one of them called 20 different places, nobody had openings. Another one had openings in like 2023 or like something crazy. So the childcare world is really hurting right now. They're having the same type of staff shortages that is happening all over. A lot of centers are having to close early, turn families away, even close certain rooms of their childcare. So my reason for doing this is just to help out a need that is very great in our community. And specifically about my business, I am childcare, so I open at 7, I close at 5. Most of the drop-offs happen between like 7:15 and probably, I'd say, honestly, it's between like 7:15 and 8, most of them. And for the most part, I don't have more than one parent dropping off at a time, so there's no congestion in my driveway. My driveway has plenty of space for parents to park, so there doesn't need to be anybody on the street parking. And then same with pickup. Pickup is usually 3:30 to 5 when I close. I run on a school calendar. I only take teachers' kids because I enjoy those breaks myself, being a former teacher. So this would not impact anything in the summer. I'm off for all the breaks too, so that's nice. Another thing, a lot of my families do live in the neighborhood. So I have 2 families that walk to drop their kids off. I have one family that, when the weather's nice, bikes to drop their child off. So that kind of cuts down on the traffic too. And I know like where I am is so close to the other part where I wouldn't have to have the variance to do it. My side of Winchell is pretty busy though. I know it's a different classification, but wow, the traffic on my street is not any better than it is on Winchell down there. We've got the apartments at the end, so that brings a lot of traffic. All the schools, Winchell, Maple, and Norix. I am on that bus route right on Winchell as well. What else? Oh, as far as the outside, I know some of the questions when I had to fill out the review sheet about there's no change in the front of my house. Like I have no signage. I don't need signage. I have people calling all the time, so I don't need a sign or anything like that. So if you were to drive by my house, you would not know that there is a daycare here. So that looks, you know, looking from the street, there's no changes. Everything in my backyard is, it's pretty secluded back there. I've got, I mean, I can't, there's like a privacy fence all the way around. There's shrubs and trees to the people behind us. So that's all pretty shaded too. And I do have, I've talked to all my neighbors around. I have approval and support from all of my neighbors. Everybody right around me seems to actually love and enjoy the kids when we're out and about. So that's good. Let's see. I think that's really all I have on my notes to tell you guys. So if you have any questions for me, let me know.
So it sounds like you've already talked to the, I think you said licensing consultant. So,
Yeah.
so with approval, then will you just have to get licensed to the next step up, and
Yes.
they've indicated that your house qualifies for that?
Yep. Because I mean, I didn't have this in my radar. I was happy with my 6, and she was the one who actually, when she came out to do my initial inspection, we were talking just about, you know, the childcare crisis that's happening right now and just the need for it. And she encouraged me. She said the space is perfect. You know, there's just such a huge need that I should go ahead and do this. And who I have working, I just want to say this is Emily. Her name is Emily as well. She will be my co-teacher. We taught together for many years at the preschool we worked at. So I will have one consistent co-teacher with me as well. So yes. So yep, that's how that happened.
Gotcha.
So yes, so she comes out again to do another inspection, but she's like, you're fine, you're good. So, and I already have a wait list a mile long.
Good. Are there any additional questions from anyone?
Yes. Mr. Eldridge, in the document, it indicates that the variance is from a street located on a collector or arterial street. Arterial is the large, like maybe stadium, is that correct?
Well, an example would be Oakland Drive would fall in that arterial category. And then of course, Winchell falls in the collector category.
Okay.
And then you get to, you know, the inner streets of a neighborhood, and those are classified as local, just to kind of, you know, give a better breakdown. So, yeah.
And so we're 8 houses from a collector.
Correct. We're
Thank you.
eight houses from this, you know, this additional requirement for a group daycare being met. And,
Great.
you know, so, but you know, the intent of the ordinance is so that you don't have a group daycare, you know, on a narrow street, you know, deep in the back of a neighborhood where there's, you know, not sufficient maneuvering area as well as parking. for a group daycare, that would get you to that 7 to 12 child category.
Got it. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Hearing no other questions, Mr. Eldridge, are there other staff comments?
Yes, I do have just a brief few more comments to make. Normally we like to talk about how, these variances that come before the board, do they align with the city's vision and plans? And as far as the city's strategic plan, it talks about complete neighborhoods and talks about needed services for the neighborhoods, and daycares is a service that is typically found in a neighborhood. And that's why it's permitted in the zoning ordinance to allow for home daycares and then group daycares if that group daycare can meet the 3 additional requirements. And I'll just go through those real quickly. They're in the staff report as well. But the one is that the visual appearance, of the property and the home, remain the same as the surrounding residential character, so that it's not looking like a daycare center per se in a neighborhood setting. 2, that there's sufficient play space. It's the requirement is 100 square feet of space per child. So that's a yard for 12 kids would be 1,200 square feet. And then the 3rd requirement is the one that we are talking about tonight, and that's that the group daycare has to be located on a collector or arterial street. So, that's the alignment. As far as community engagement, Ms. Agnello did reach out to her neighbors and to the neighborhood association, and of the 5 letters of support, 2 of them are from the immediate neighbors to the east and west, and 1 is from the neighbor directly across the street. So with that being said, as the staff report concludes with staff recommending approval of this, the reasons given are the fact that the location is only 800 feet from the intersection where the street classification changes, that there's sufficient area in the driveway for pickups and drop-offs of the children, and that Winchell Avenue itself is, it does function like a collector street past the point of Rambling Road, even though technically that's where that classification change occurs. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now open up the public hearing. Are there any public or any comments?
There are no comments at this time.
All right. I think then we move on to the finding of fact. Mr. Flaw, can you present the motion on finding of fact? Oh, you're muted still.
I move that the finding of fact of 3501 Winchell Ave shall include all information included in the notice of public hearing dated September 29, 2019. 30 notices of public hearing were sent, 5 responses were received. Let me read the 5 responses. Ken Brightwell, Sarah and Evan Wilson, April Home. I don't want to screw the name up. And moving on, Amanda Coleman and Stephanie Hampton. They were in support of the motion. The public hearing was held before a board of public hearing. A public hearing was held before the board and public comments were accepted. In addition to the information and documents contained, an agenda packet staff provided for this request, the Zoning Board of Appeals received additional documents on the request, including done to follow the finding of fact shall include those documents just described and also the facts and comments made during the public hearing, which are summarized as follows. The applicant currently has 6, call them students. Do we call them? Yep, yeah, 6 students, and then she's looking to increase the size of her business in part due to the demand. She needs a variance because the road does not qualify for that. Staff noted that the road, or staff noted that the purpose of the ordinance was to provide adequate mobility for traffic, and this road does have adequate mobility. Jeff Carroll noted that the house was 8 houses away from the appropriate street. Licensing will continue after the zoning ordinance is, or after the variance is approved. And that concludes the finding of fact.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor of acceptance of the motion of finding of fact signify by saying aye.
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 And opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Now, can we have a motion for approval of the variance request? Let me see. I've got it up here. Pete, there's no problem with me making the motion, is there?
Let me defer that to Charlie. Normally, the board chair doesn't make the motions, but I don't know if that's just out of courtesy or if that's
I think under Robert's Rules of Order, you need to step down from the chair to do that. So it's better if somebody else does.
I'll do
So
it.
moved. So moved.
Okay, so we have a motion for approval of the variance before us. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
All right. Discussion.
I feel like this street in the green, in the area we're describing, although I'm not over there a lot, it is fairly well trafficked. And I don't know if this approval kind of meets the vibe or increases the vibe in terms of traffic. But my personal belief is it would not be a detriment traffic-wise to the community. That would be my opinion, and I don't live in the community, so take it for what it's worth. That's my only comment.
So yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to be in favor of this variance. You know, as I see it, when I'm over there, you know, Winchell sort of according to this like collector street designation would sort of seem to stop where Rambling Road then heads out to Stadium there. Whereas anyone driving down Winchell going back to the apartment complex, there doesn't seem to really be any change of character of that street there. The traffic is just as heavy except for folks that turn onto Rambling to Stadium. The comments about the traffic from the buses and the fact that it's just 800 feet or 8 houses from the proper designation all seem to be special circumstances in this case. So I will be in favor. Any other discussion? Hearing none, can we do a roll call vote?
We'll start with Harrington. Ms. Harrington?
Yes, I'm for it.
Okay, thank you. I know there's
You're
sometimes there's a little bit of a delay here.
Sorry.
Turpin,
Yes.
Flaw,
Yes.
Carroll,
Oh, Jeff, look.
Jeff, can you hear us? So I'm going through the roll call and I'm calling your name for the vote.
I can hear you. I vote yes.
Yes, thank you. And Chair Lager.
Yes. The motion carries. The variance is granted.
Thank you guys so much. This
Yep.
means a lot to me. It means a lot to the family. It means a lot to the community. So thank you for recognizing the need, and I have some very excited families. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for what you do. And that's our only case tonight. So there are no further agenda items. So we are adjourned.
That is correct. And just a note for everyone, the next Zoning Board of Appeals meeting is November 18th. So it's actually the third Thursday of the month of November instead of the second because of Veterans Day, because the city closes on Veterans Day. So I will send out an email reminder too, just so everybody's got their calendars straight. Thank you. And that is all the business we have this evening.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Good evening, everyone.
Again.
Night.